Okay, today we're going to continue talking about similar polygons. Yesterday we just looked at how to set those things up, right? We talked about corresponding angles are congruent, and then corresponding sides are what? Not equal. Starts with a P. Proportional, right? Our corresponding sides are proportional to each other. That's why we wrote everything as a fraction yesterday. So, since we know that, we can use proportions to solve for missing sides of similar figures, correct? It's kind of the same reason that at the end of your worksheet was just solving by cross multiplying, right? Because we're going to use that a lot today. Which, just FYI, as I'm going through and grading your worksheets, I noticed some of us on those last 4 problems put answers only. Those will all be counted incorrect, okay? There's no way we're solving those without showing any work. All that tells me is we're just writing down someone else's answer from yesterday that's supposed to be in the basket. I know. I was looking at some that were already in the basket earlier today, noticing that some of us magically had answers without any work shown. Okay, let's fix that. All right, so at the bottom of this, we talked through these first 2 examples yesterday. So we're down here at the bottom, we're talking about finding missing sides of similar figures. So, does anyone have a thought on how I could find the missing side of this first example? Using what we talked about yesterday.
Which sides are congruent to each other?
Okay, true. What sides do we already have that are congruent to each other?
21 and 14.
Okay, so let's use 21 and 14 because that's the first one I heard. Is 21 and 14 the only one I could use? No, you could also use 9 and 6, right? It doesn't matter which one you choose, but just pick a pair that you already have that are proportional. And then what do I want to set that equal to solve for the missing side?
X over 16.
Yeah, x over 16, right? We'll call this missing side x, and that side is proportional to 16. Okay? Now, you guys did a lot of these problems yesterday. How do I solve for x? Yeah, cross multiply, right? So I get 14x is equal to, what's 21 times 16? 336, yeah. Oy. Okay. Weston, what's my last step to get x by itself? Divide by 14, so x is going to be equal to 24. Okay. Would you have got the same answer if you chose to do 9 over 6 right here instead of 21 over 14? Yes. Okay. It does not matter what sides you choose. Just pick 2 that are proportional and then solve for your missing side. Okay. Now, example 2 is a little bit different. Why? True, we are solving for 2 sides. What's the other reason, though? The figure is flipped, right? So remember yesterday when I went through and I kind of marked similar sides with like a box or a circle or underline? Let's do that today. So can anyone tell me, you can use numbers, variables, whatever. Can anyone tell me what sides would be proportional here?
J-I and M-L.
J-I and M-L, I agree with. So let's circle both of those. Okay. What else? Good. Let's just underline those 2, JK and MN, which means our last ones have to be proportional, IK and NL. Now, how could you know that those parts are proportional if you didn't have a picture of it?
The thing up there.
Yeah, your statement up here, right? IJ, the first 2, have to be the same as LM, right? Wherever it's written in your statement, they have to be the same. Okay, I think just going through and marking them the same will help you all set them up. Agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's solve for x first. Who can tell me how to set up to solve for x?
54 over 42.
Okay, I like that. 54 over 42.
X over 28.
Good. Equal to x over 28. All right, so let's solve. We get 42x is equal to 1512. And then we know all we have to do to get x by itself is what, Trent? And what do we get for our answer? Anybody? 36. Didn't bring our notes today either. Okay. All right. Colt, what about the second part? How could I solve for y?
Y over 35.
Okay. Yeah. And listen, it doesn't matter if you choose, like the other one we chose to put x in the second one, you can choose to put it first. It doesn't matter. And what are we going to set that equal to, Colt? Quit whispering to him. That is not helpful for him.
84 over 42.
Thanks, Grant. You guys, I don't know why I have to tell you this all the time. When I call on someone, you whispering to them, the only thing Colt's now thinking is what you said, not at all what he has to do. Quit doing it. Okay, Grant, since you want to do this question so bad, finish it for me.
You cross multiply.
Okay, what do we get?
You get 42y equals 1890.
Okay, last step.
Divided by 42.
So y is equal to 45. Okay. Fair enough. Do what? On this page.
That'd be pretty nice.
I mean, essentially, yeah, that is all we're doing because that's pretty much how we're going to work every problem today. Okay, but we got to talk through a few different parts of things we're going to see. Okay, so on the back page, an altitude. Altitude is just another word for what? Height, right? So an altitude is a segment that extends from a vertex to the opposite side of a triangle. It is also perpendicular to that side. If you guys will think back, I know 8th grade's been a while ago, or 7th grade, when you did area of a triangle, you have to have the base times the height, right? Well, how do we know the height of a triangle? Because it forms it perpendicular to the base, okay? So, same thing for altitude, because altitude is height. It forms perpendicular to the opposite side, okay? All right, so here it tells you that A, B, and JK are both altitudes. Then it tells you that the two triangles are similar to each other. Agree? Go through and mark the side links that they give you. So it tells us AB is 9, AD is 4x minus 8. I want you to go through and mark those things on your paper. Okay, everybody okay with those? All right, what does it ask you to do?
Find x.
Find x. Who can tell me how?
The same way we've been doing.
Yeah, set up proportions, right? What would my first proportion be?
9 over 21.
Yeah, 9 over 21, and what am I going to set that equal to?
4x minus 8 over 5x plus 3.
Good. Now, when I cross multiply these, what do I need to be sure to use when I write this out? Parentheses, okay? A lot of us have a habit of just trying to multiply without, and we forget that we have to multiply both parts, okay? So, 9 times 5x plus 3 is equal to what?
45x plus 27.
True. Y'all are getting ahead of me.
9 parentheses 5.
Well, we already wrote that one down.
It equals
21
21.
times what?
21 times 5x plus 3.
We already multiplied 5x times 3 times 9.
Oh, no, 4x minus 8.
There we go. 4x minus 8. Okay,
21 from.
21 from right here. Right? 21 goes times the top, that's 4x minus 8, which we wrote here. 9 gets multiplied by the bottom, which we wrote first. Okay? All right, how do I get rid of my parentheses, Brady?
Distribute.
Okay, tell me what you get when you distribute 9.
45 should be
45x.
plus 27.
Okay, go ahead and distribute the other side for me.
Equals 84x minus 16.
21 times 8, not 2 times 8.
Oh. 168.
168. Okay, good. Striker, what would you do next if we're solving for x?
Subtract 45.
Perfect. Subtract 45x from both sides. 84x minus 45 will give you 39x. Kevin, then what?
16.
168, yes. Yeah, make sure that says 168 there at the end, not just 16. Okay, 27 plus 168 is 192. And, sorry, that's not right. 195.
Yeah, 195.
Cannon,
Yeah.
last step.
Divide by 39.
Okay, 195 divided by 39, we're going to get x is equal to 5. Okay, honestly, you guys, this is kind of the nice part about like this chapter specifically is if you can set up two proportions and cross multiply, like we're going to roll through these really quickly. Fair? Okay, all right, last part of this type, and then we'll end with perimeter. Okay, a median, what's median mean? Middle. Okay, so what do we know about a median? It goes to the middle, right? So it's a segment that extends from a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. Notice, what did it do to this side down here? Cut it in half. Same thing over here. Cut this side in half. That's how we're going to know the difference between a median and an altitude, because it will ask you that question in your homework today, right? An altitude, you're going to see what? A right angle. A median, you're going to see two sides cut in half. So when it asks you, is this an altitude or a median? Those are the two things you're looking for. Are you going to solve it any differently? No. But that's how we know the difference, okay? So, Keegan, set up a proportion for me on this one to solve, please.
24 over 36
Good?
is equal to x over x plus 8.
Perfect. Right, so when I cross multiply, I get 36x is equal to 24 times x plus 8. Okay, so we distribute. Somebody tell me what's 24 times 8.
192.
Thank you. Okay, I have two steps to solve. Peyton, what's my first step?
I was going to subtract 24.
Perfect. Okay, so I get 12x is equal to 192. Pearl, what's your last step to get x by itself?
Divide.
Good. Okay, so here we get an x value of 16. Now, if it asks you to find the length of each median, what are you going to do? Yeah, plug it back in. So what's the length of my first median? 16. What's the length of my second one?
24.
24. Okay, good. All right. Okay, last part real quick. Perimeter of similar polygons. If two polygons are similar, the ratio of the perimeter, what is perimeter?
Around.
True. So what do you do with all your sides? Add, right? So perimeter, we're just going to write below sum of the side lengths, just as our reminder. Okay, the ratio of the perimeter is equal to the ratio of the corresponding sides. Now, we already talked about how to find ratio of corresponding sides, right? We wrote every side as a fraction. It was scale factor. So essentially, the ratio of your perimeter is going to be the same, all right? So example 1 tells you that two similar triangles have a perimeter of 50 and 10. Find the reduced scale factor. Okay, so what would be my first ratio here?
50%.
50 over 10, right? You take the perimeter of the first, Put it over the perimeter a second. And all it asks you to do is find the reduced scale factor.
5 over 1.
Yeah, 5 over 1. Or you could also just, in this case, say your scale factor is 5. Truthfully, when I say scale factor, I would say 5 to 1 and leave it over 1, but I would take either way on that, right? So essentially all it's telling you about perimeter is that the ratio of your perimeters is the same as the ratio of any of your proportional sides. Okay? All right. Example 2. 2 similar rectangles have a scale factor of 3 to 4. So we're going to start with 3 to 4. Okay? Now, which one of those is going to be the smaller figure?
Top.
3, right? The larger figure will be 4. Okay? Then it says the perimeter of the larger rectangle is 68 inches. Find the perimeter of the smaller rectangle. So what am I going to set this equal to?
68 over x. Or x over 68.
How do I know which one? There's a reason I just asked you the question I did.
The larger goes with the larger number and the...
True. Which one of those two did we say was larger of 3 and 4? 4. So, sorry, let's write this out to the side. So, small we put on top, big we put on bottom, right? So, x over 68. Now again, do you have to label which ones are smaller and bigger for me? No, but I'm putting it in your notes so you know where to go with it. Always set your proportions up the same, all right? What do we get when we cross multiply? 204, okay? So x is equal to what? Good.
So wait, when you do that, could you just divide 68 by 4 and then multiply 17 by 3?
You could, I'm going to set up every time a proportion and cross multiply. It'll just, because they're not always as easy to see, right? Like, I know 68 is divisible by 4 easily, but sometimes it's a decimal or something like that. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Here you go. Today we're on page 409. A few questions from there.